What's going on, guys? In this video, I am going to compare email campaigns versus email flows and just quickly go over what the terminology means of what makes those two different types of emails different, why you need both, and when you should use one versus the other. So really quickly, different email platforms use different terminology. So I primarily work with Klaviyo, and in Klaviyo, the automated emails are called flows, and the email broadcasts that you send out are called email campaigns. So sometimes when people hear the term, email campaign, they think of a series of emails, which it could be. And whenever they hear flows, a lot of times that could just be certain automations that involve email and other actions. But so for this case, what I'm talking about are just the automated emails when I talk about email flows. And then for email campaigns, these are one-off sends or emails that you send out to your list. Okay, so first, email flows. These emails are automated. These are the emails that you have tied to your sales process. So things like your welcome series, all of your abandonment emails, like your browse abandonment, abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, your post-purchase email flows, anything that you might have set up as far as replenishment reminders, or any kind of specific nurturing flows that people get when they buy a specific product, those kind of things. So in general, the content in your email flows, you want to be evergreen because these are automated. So you set them up one time and they're running 24/7. So you don't want to have to constantly be updating the content. So, if it's content that's about specific products, then, you only want to, a lot of times you're not going to be changing the, specific features of your products very often. You might only update a product every, once every few years or so. So, you just wouldn't want to say anything that would require you to have to go in and constantly change these emails, because the big value here is the fact that you put in a lot of the work up front to create these great automated email flows, and that they just run for you. And what I always tell people is that your email flows really provide the baseline of revenue that you get from email marketing every month, because again, they're just running 24/7 and they're very reactionary to people's behavior. So, when you send people to your site and let's say they opt into the pop-up that's on your page and they go into the welcome flow, or they're already shopping around and they leave a product in their cart. Again, these actions they take are triggering the flows. And so that's what makes A/B testing really useful for your email flows, because the situation where someone receives that email is very consistent, meaning that everyone who receives that email took the same action to get that email. So they're in a very similar situation. So when you do A/B testing on those flows, whether you're testing subject lines or preview text or content in the email, maybe it's the design or headlines or whatever, you're getting really good data, because again, the people who are receiving it, you're controlling for a lot of factors. And so that is something where if you want to continually improve the performance of your flows over time, I definitely recommend having A/B tests running on all your emails at all times. And it's pretty easy to just go in once a month and update those. And that will give you not only a way to seek to improve performance, but also give you just a general snapshot of what's going on with different types of customers, and also at different stages of the buyer's journey in your business. And it just gives you a snapshot of what's been going on with those people over the last 30 days or, however long, whatever time frame that you're going and checking in on. And now then for campaigns, these are the one-time sends. So this is where you want to have more of your timely content, because, a campaign, like let's just say you're sending out a campaign and you're mentioning something that a recent current event, maybe you send, for example, there are, CBD companies that, have products that help people, get better sleep and have better recovery. And so you could send out an email on, around the Super Bowl, because that's one of the days that's just known for that particular Monday, I believe is the most requested off or most requested sick day of the year, because people tend to eat and drink too much and they wake up and they're groggy and tired and don't feel like going into work. And then it's just one of those, it's something that's funny, where you can create a lot of funny angles around that if it fits to your product, but it's only going to work on that particular day. You can't send that in the middle of the year and expect people to really care or find it as entertaining. So this, with your campaigns, this is where you might not use as much evergreen content, and you're going to use things that are more timely to either, a particular holiday, a time of year, something that's going on with your business, something that you've done with your social media, things like that. And then then with these campaigns, because these aren't triggered by someone taking a specific action, you have control, or I should say more control over who receives these emails. This is where you're now using segmentation and you're creating the content to target the specific people in those segments. So that's how you're trying to replicate that same experience where people with flows are getting an email that's very relevant to something they've done, so now you're doing something similar where you're trying to create these groups of people and send them content that's as relevant to them as you possibly can. And then I always tell people when it comes to campaigns, this is where you can see a lot more of the upside of of the revenue that you get from email marketing, because over time, as your list grows, you can create more segments and you can send out more emails. And just, by sending more emails, you're going to be able to generate a lot more revenue, assuming you're not blasting every email to everyone on your list, because that could end up backfiring. And then one last thing I want to note here is that when it comes to the email campaigns, A/B testing isn't always as useful as it is with flows, meaning that you can run an A/B test and you can set it up in a way where you're just testing different subject lines, and then of course the winner goes out to the bigger group, and that will give you a little boost in performance. But a lot of times, say you take that and then you apply it to the next email, you won't always replicate the same results. So I like to do more A/B testing around the day of the week and the time of day that we're sending, and I have found that split testing subject lines tends to be a lot more hit or miss than it is with the flows, and you get a lot more useful data, and you can continually see performance with that A/B testing with flows versus campaigns. So both of these are essential to a good email marketing strategy. If you haven't done any email marketing at all, I would definitely prioritize getting all of your flows set up first, and then you can kind of ease your way into campaigns, because at least you will have those set up, and you can make sure that the people who are the most engaged and the most active in your sales process are getting emails. And honestly, you can get to, with your core flows built out and optimized, you can get to where easily 20% of your total revenue is generated from just those email flows. And that's why I say that there's a lot more upside with the campaigns, because once you've done all that and then you start implementing the campaigns and you start growing that, we typically see for our clients, they get 30 to 50% of their total revenue attributed to email overall. And a lot of that upside does come from the campaigns. So yeah, that's it. If you're ever confused about the terminology or anything, now you know, and you have a good place to start. And again, you need both of these if you really want to be successful. But if you had to choose one, I would say just start with the email flows and then work from there.